Good thing I checked that. Good thing. Good thing. Good thing. Good things. Good things. Good feeling strat today. Oh my goodness, we got some good news today. You know what? We have some marvelous news, right? New Press has officially opened to some of the beta testers. If anybody wants to check out that site, please check so. Please do so. Right? That's your job. And in times where journalism is quite really obscure, right? Obscure journalism is getting really hard to push out there properly, if you know what I mean. Lots of the media currently has been skewed entirely over to the other side of things, right? Conservative values, more extreme values, stuff like that, and keeping it subjective, right? I have a few sources I really want to push out for the next video that we'll be posting, but today we'll be talking about the Discord global age verification. Now we're in February and it has been rolling out, but the very first layer of it has been rolling out. In the UK, some of it's already fasting, it's quite more faster. The UK has been a lot more strict on it, but for the rest of the world, you'll be finally having your first layer of age verification. I'll tell you how to bypass this verification very soon in this video. Please make sure to leave a like on this video to get this video anywhere else. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach the 10K goal. As always, I'll teach you how to bypass age verification. I obviously will not show you exactly what that looks like on my screen, but I will send a video in a link, right? And one up in the pinned comment for you to go to. A very good video on how to bypass it. I won't describe it because then YouTube might be telling me that I'm promoting people to do really bad things with their computers. I'm not doing that because this channel is not afraid to do that. But I won't do it on my screen, right? I've already had to send a few things down. I've already sent things down. I'm already at risk with the channel already itself. So promoting you to do that is mainly for educational purposes. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a professional computer scientist or a professional coder or programmer or something like that. So please be aware I'm not professional in those areas. So take it with me that you can either you want to take the age verification yourself or don't do it and bypass it. You can clearly bypass it, but I'll tell you how to do it. Here's a screenshot of the video I'm talking about, but if that screenshot doesn't appear, then my computer is completely screwed and I have to fix that. But besides that, this is the way, check the link in the description below and check the pinned comment down. Join the Discord server, link in the description as well. And that's all I have to say is that Discord has been rolling out this update. March will be the next update, which will include the AI process part of the update, which is where an AI basically reads everything you are doing. And very ironic that the very first new CEO that came after, that was underneath the guise of the other Discord CEO is Israeli and immediately folded under pressure and immediately embraced age verification the immediate he takes over CEO of Discord. So ironically, we're working with a buffoon, right? We're working with somebody who clearly, ironically, folded really quickly in the battle of age verification. So I've already have said lots of times across throughout the channel, right? And I'm gonna change angle just for the sake of it. I'm gonna do like this, just so you can have something to look at. Ironically, Discord was one of the most resistant in the GCW, the Global Censorship War, as from what I'm getting. But really weirdly, new CEO comes in, folds right away, right? And then we have Peter Thiel with his company, Persona, right? Data collection company, spyware company. We had Paragon recently leaked to have been spying on journalists and people who do their job, right? To expose companies and corporations, right? So that's been found out recently. Paragon, you are a slippery snake, and I hope you get prosecuted. Hopefully. But the entire world is over 70% authoritarian at the moment, and it doesn't look like they want to help out the people, which is why we have to start relying on ourselves. In this channel, I've been for many long videos throughout the course of everything. I've been trying my best to represent a really formidable opponent to everything it is, right? I want to promote certain places that are, fighting against this thing, and at the moment, I want to advise you very quickly, as fast as possible. So please make sure to vote in young people into Congress in your countries whenever an election comes up, right? Very soon as possible. I know that it sucks having to vote, right? Out of fear because of everything that is going on, right? But, doing nothing and sitting down like a duck and saying that everything is okay is not going to fix everything. Unfortunately, that is. You have to get really uncomfortable in order to get these things out of the way. So make sure to use your vote as a young person. This channel has lots of 20-year-olds watching, so I know my audience very well. You're all in your 20s mostly, and lots of you are female, and some of you are male. And I know who I'm talking with, so please make sure that you are valued. I know you are valued, you're unique, you're a needed person. I know that you feel scared that the world is currently the way it is now, but don't lose hope. As long as you use your vote and put out every one of these people, and as much as you feel like you're comfortable voting somebody old into Congress who might have been a really great person, as long as they know how technology works, they know how personal privacy works, especially in a world where digital media is at the highest that it is going, it is at peak, records are being broken in the 2020s. Vote somebody who knows what personal privacy is, who knows what digital literacy is, who knows basic to even maybe possible complex concepts around the internet landscape, around AI and stuff. Legislation is not fast enough, right? It takes too long to go through votes, which is why we specifically need young voters, right? And young representatives and senators and even legislators and governors into our government. You can have really good voices out there. There are some really great voices out there, but they're in their 40s or 50s. They're not going to be caring about the more younger side of things. So, for example, is Kabazale, who I've been following for a bit. She's one of the younger candidates I've been rooting for within her own county or her district, and there's other people who have been looking her in the district. Florida's been kind of struggles with having lots of older people keep the Congress in power and control, right? That's been an issue with Florida, but in New York, everything's going a lot more differently because they have some really aggressive Democrats, and I like that attitude. My problem is that lots of people, the Gen X, right, and millennials have been voting in people with not too much of a backbone, because back in the day, why would you need backbone when everything was going fine already, right? Nobody needed a person with a backbone or fierce activity. You could say a few figures existed within them, but that was not for everybody. And at the point, as much as you hate these people, the ones who are ruining everything, showing them violence and doing really rash things without passing laws or voting properly is not the way to do it. So I want to say is that we got to strategically put pressure on these very people, and we must vote in younger candidates who know what they are talking about, who know what they are doing, who is representative or maybe very highly connected with the younger generation, because at the moment, relying on lots of 40 to 50-year-olds is not the best option, because most of these people do not care about social media or their internet. That is a proven fact. Even most of them that use Netflix or use computers or laptops to do whatever they want or whatever, to do jobs, taxes, talk with friends and family, they don't care about privacy, right? They just give out their information out there, or use like services like antivirus services. I think that's all the protection they need, which is wrong, and it's also really filled with all sorts of fallacies and lots of weak points. That is why we need somebody who knows at least that most digital media and privacy and personal privacy and data collection is not as simple as getting one service and thinking you're fully protected. This is my problem. So we need somebody with a backbone who has a lot of very fierce remarks and standing up against lots of these people who just have failed this entire country and led it to the doom that is in right now. Now, obviously, I'm in Florida, so everything in Florida is gonna suck for me, most likely for a while, until we have younger representatives representing Florida. And I did go to a No Kings protest not too long ago in participation of No Kings Day, right? And I got to record all sorts of people. And what I heavily noticed is that Florida, lots of the protesters that were protesting for democratic, tendencies or laws and legislation and fairness and freedom, right? They were all people who were older. I did not find many, not a singular teenager was found. Maybe a few, not very little teenagers. Absolutely nothing from that. I didn't see a lot of 20-year-olds or young adults. Barely, right? I only saw a few. I looked around. I even had a few girls on the camera, a few guys on the camera, right? They were young. You saw people using microphones, maybe partying somewhere there. Maybe a few inflatable animal costumes were around worn, and so there were very few young adults in the presence of the crowd that I was protesting in. So that's a huge telling tale sign that, okay, Florida's screwed. What about the rest of the other states in this country? Yeah, we're gonna need our best. But, you know, I hope you saw my thing on the, passing age verification thing. It's most likely better done on your browser, so make sure you do it on browser. Do it on browser. Follow the directions. Do not do stupid things. Make sure you're doing it on your account in Discord. You can do it for your all accounts as well if you want. And stay safe out there as well. And by the way, for Neo Mohan throwing the creators under the rug, you are a worthless piece of garbage. I hope you get prosecuted, and I hope Pam Bondi gets prosecuted. She is in contempt of court and she is lying under oath. I hope we prosecute her as well, and I hope we put Donald Trump into a jail cell as well at the same time, because honestly, this government has shown that lots of people are just going to go inactive, right? And unless an entire party or some old person tells them or pays them or forces them to, if we don't get some backbone real soon from some younger representatives of our country, this country will possibly go into a worse state than it is. And let me tell you, the last thing we'll have to do in this country to keep things running, right, keep things fair, the last thing we'll do is, rather than staying peaceful, we will enact on violence and throw this country into a civil war to keep things straight, because the last thing we'll ever do is fighting between each other. And I don't really want to see that for this country. But you know how history goes. Every so and then an empire collapses because of the foolishness of their own country, right? You all turned on Kamala Harris for one comment and put aside all of Trump's crimes. All of Trump's crimes and racism aside, and voted this bastard in. I hope you take that back. I hope you learn your lesson. And the next time before you think you believe anything on the internet, make sure to always check the entire interview of what you're watching on the internet. Most interviews are usually clipped and cut, right, for shorts and videos online. But often their entire interviews, videos that you see and covered on the news, usually exist online in full, right, and is posted online publicly for free. One thing I want to leave a last remark on is, when I remembered people turning on Joe Biden for the entire gas economy thing, or oil and gas thing, and they were turning on him for the war thing, or the inflation aspect, at times I always remember, people can be so sensitive, can be so horrible, right? Can be so selfish and cruel without knowing that they are, right? We left a man in the worst possible space and era, right? An old man who couldn't finish his sentences. And we threw shame over his name, right? For oil and gas. Giant executives that purposely sabotaged the entirety of the United States of America during Joe Biden's presidency, turned against them, right? Oil and gas giants. That didn't happen with Donald Trump, so y'all know. Didn't happen. Russia then turned onto the United States. China did the same thing back in the day, if you did your research. And we were throwing around Joe Biden's weak, old, and frail, while he was trying to get this economy back from a 13.67% unemployment rate, right? And turned it back over to 3 point something. And now the employment rate is back over to 4.8, 4.9%. It could possibly hit 5% by the time this video is posted. We don't know if it ever hits 5%, because that's kind of insane. And the fact that we're not even in a full recession, right? We're not even in a recession. And it only looks like that because we're relying on these huge stock value markets as a way of saying that our country is still getting wealthier. The country is not getting wealthier. The very 0.1% of the country is getting wealthier. That is not going to the middle class. So let me get your facts straight. The next time when I see any of you try to go, Kamala says she doesn't like immigrants. Make sure to do your research before listening to some random nobody online who told you Kamala says she hates immigrants, right? Right? And then out of selfish means, vote a very racist, rapist, president, pedophile, Nazi president, right? Out of your own selfishness because one person said they didn't like immigrants. that didn't say all immigrants and meant actual criminal immigrants that were illegally crossing, meant to start crimes and commit crimes, right? Not all immigrants do that. A very few amount of them do, right, when they cross the country. And fellas turned around against Kamala Harris because 16 seconds of a clip was cut out and was put out of context in front of Hispanic voters that immediately said, "But Kamala Harris, but Joe Biden," and then turned against them for one comment. Just ignoring all of Trump's crimes and rapes and pedophile behavior and racist remarks and degenerate, very misogynistic takes out of your own selfishness. At times, there are people I want to yell in the face, but I choose not to, because I feel they could do better. I would have pity that lots of the people who are in my very state, which I want to make a last remark on, voted this bastard in because they said Kamala or Joe Biden said something. I'm like, really? Look where you at. How was Puerto Rico? How was Mexico? Pretty fun, right? You were fucking deported after you voted this bitch in. Oh, are you happy? You said Latinos for Trump. Latinos for Trump. Those idiots I saw in Miami. Oh, are you happy? How was Mexico? Oh, you were deported. Oh, my bad. The same idiot you voted in selfishly because of one comment online. Oh, now you're back in Mexico. Back to your crippling poverty. You happy? Oh, same for the Venezuelans and the Colombians and the Puerto Ricans who I saw, especially the Cubans, right? The Cuban people. They said Latinos for Trump. What happened? How's Cuba? You having fun? Exactly. You voted in an idiot who only cares about your vote, right? And your money and your attention. Then deports you and treats you like a slave. Says goodbye. I didn't care about you anyway. I hope you learned your lesson. Stay safe out there. Protest peacefully. Know your rights. What you say about me is what you say about society. My name is Wiz my happiness for 8 years, and that's all I have to say. And I, again, hope you learned your lesson. And share kindness, don't be violent, don't do stupid things. The last thing we have to do is violence, and the last thing we'll ever have to do is cause a civil war. Besides that, F ICE, F Trump, F Kristi Noem, F Pam Bondi, and F all the people who participated in the Epstein Files case, who were co-conspirators, and I hope they get prosecuted and possibly executed for their crimes. And that's all I have to say. Right? Don't be a bad actor, right? I was gonna talk about money in Discord, but don't be that way, right? Please, don't do that. Don't do what they're doing. We don't need more idiots being platformed, alright? The media is entirely biased towards the right already. We don't need any more right-wing people, okay? Please, don't do it anymore. You know way better.